Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to Russia in Context. We're here today with another installment of what I like to call uncanceled culture, where I try to shed a little bit of light on what's happening here culturally in Russia, connected to films, music, the arts, things of that nature. The music is what I've heavily focused on in the last two installments of this, which you can go check out at the link up here in the corner. And today that will be the continued focus of the series. Today I'm going to be talking about the best Russian musical singles from January through April. I'm going to be talking mainly about the songs which made the biggest waves here in Russia and which have stood the test of time, which seem to be having the longest cultural impact, the longest staying power in the cultural consciousness here in Russia. I'm also going to mention a few maybe oddball choices towards the end, as well as one or two songs which definitely have stuck with me over the last few months. And all of the songs that I'm mentioning here are definitely worth your time, and they're definitely worth giving a listen to. So let's just get right into it. Let's let the music speak for itself. So first up, we have the song Dymok by Toxi. Now, the song was actually released in August of 2023 and had some limited popularity at that time, which, for reasons I'll get into in a bit. But it really blew up here in Russia in terms of popularity at the beginning of this year, maybe late at the end of last year. The reason for that being that the Russian government decided to block it, mainly on YouTube, block the video because they said that it was, one organization said that the music video was propagandizing narcotics, specifically Mary Jane. Now, as you can maybe tell from the video, that's maybe not too far off the mark. But what happened was the Russian government, like always, never understands how the Streisand effect works. And as soon as they blocked it, the popularity of the video and in turn, the song exploded. People began to re-upload the video to their own personal accounts. And within a few weeks, maybe a month maximum, the video was back on Russian YouTube in its original form on the official channel. Now, I personally love the song a lot, even though it's been really since the beginning of the year when I first heard it. I still come back to it from time to time. There's just like this certain sweet spot to this song. You will sometimes be walking down the street and hear it blasting out of a car stereo system, or now that the weather is nicer, from a motorcycle stereo system. And honestly, kind of what's not to love about this song, it's got a mix of this Clams Casino, then there's a little bit of Euro techno in it, and then some what in Russian known as blatnaya muzika, which is a Russian genre with its roots in the prison system here, especially in the Soviet Union, and the lyrics and the delivery style are pretty much designed for the prison population. Now, Tsipr himself, the man behind the music, calls his genre house chanson, which is a pretty accurate description as well. Now, I already mentioned the music video, and I think that this is actually one of those instances where watching the music video takes the value of the song to an entirely other level. Just visually, once you see Tsipr in his true form, and you understand how old he is. Tsipr was born in the Soviet Union in Ukraine, from what I remember, and he has lived most of his life in Kazakhstan. He is in his 60s, so he's on his pension, and just seeing him wandering about the city, going through his cloudy little adventures, really puts a fun twist on the song, even though it's pretty clear from the lyrics if you're listening closely and you can understand what's going on. Now, the thing behind Tsipr is that nobody's actually really sure if this is really a one-man project. Is he really writing the music and the lyrics and doing everything himself, or is he just the singer slash face of a producer's project? Or is it a situation where somebody's producing the music and he's writing the lyrics? So there's kind of a 1-2 combination there. Nobody's really clear on that right now. He has put out quite a few songs. If you go to his YouTube account, there's I think like over 20 songs from what I remember, and he does put a new song out relatively frequently, maybe once every month or so. Honestly, though, it doesn't really matter if he's doing it himself, if there's producers behind it, because the quality of the song stands the test of time. And even though it's basically been 5 months, right? We're in the middle of May. It's been over 5 months since the song first exploded here in Russia. It's still sitting in the top, I want to say like top 15 songs on Yandex Music. So people are still spinning it regularly. And really, once you give it a listen, you might not be surprised as to why.
Пошел по комнате дымок, дымок окутал потолок, дымок, пошел по комнате дымок. Вдруг сзади кто-то нам салам, но мы в ответку пополам. Зашел кентишка из налива, закинул 8 литров пива.
So the second song is Можно я с тобой by Absent. Now this is another song that was released in 2023 that found massive popularity here in Russia this year. This time it was thanks to TikTok-style videos. The song title, if you translate it, is basically Can I Come With You? And the sort of little video shorts focused on small kids or maybe baby animals tagging along behind older siblings or parents. Just these kind of cutesy little videos that really played into the Can I Come Along With You message of the lyrics. However, the actual story behind the song is a little bit more depressing. And I should probably mention that the song, the official song, is kind of banned here in Russia and it's fully banned in Belarus. The reason for that being that the singer's wife, Absent's wife, she protested the Belarus elections back in 2019. The elections that saw Lukashenko return to power, no big surprise there. And anyway, after Lukashenko came back to power, the people who protested the elections were prosecuted. And one evening, the wife got a message on her phone saying that the police were coming to their house and that they were going to arrest the wife and that she needed to get out of the country immediately. And so she gathered her stuff and got ready to flee. And her husband basically was asking if he could come with her to flee and live in exile with her as well. So that's what the song is actually about. It's not a cutesy little song. It's actually a song connected to people fleeing from, I guess you could maybe say, political prosecution and how it could potentially rip families apart and how, he had to make that choice of would he stay in his home country where he'd lived his whole life or go with the woman he loves. And he chose the latter. Now, like I said, the song is technically kind of banned here in Russia. It's currently sitting at number 3 on Yandex Music. Again, very high for the fact that it's been out for as long as it has. However, the version that's currently sitting at number 3 on Yandex Music is not by Absent. It's by an artist, DV. It's, I guess, a cover of the song, although if you were to listen to the cover version and the original version, I can't really tell the difference, and I'm not entirely sure that it's not just the original uploaded under a different name. Regardless, it is still just holding massive popularity, and kind of like Dymok, when you give the song a listen, you can kind of understand why. The song itself, which I haven't spoken about, is just a catchy mix of post-punk, and it sounds a little bit like Somebody That I Used to Know, if you're old enough to remember that song, which I'm assuming most of you are. Just as catchy.
Еще одна ночь в квартире пустой, какой отстой, постой. А можно я с тобой? Можно я с тобой, с тобой, постой. Можно я с тобой, с тобой, постой. Можно я с тобой, с тобой, постой. Можно я с тобой.
Moving along to what might be considered the, I guess, biggest name here, the sort of the hip-hop and maybe the newest face on the Russian music scene, we have Save Dat by Toxis featuring Егор, Крид. Now, Toxis was one of 2023's biggest new hip-hop acts. And the single that he released with Егор Крид, who is, I guess, he's a musician, but he's more of a former, like, he was the big hot boy in music for a number of years. I want to say a decade ago. And currently he's, I guess, a streamer, or he just kind of does whatever's hot at the moment. Although he does still dabble in music, as we see in this song. So anyway, Toxis and Егор Крид, they came together for this single, which, despite some pretty mild verses, ends up being serviceable thanks to a solid instrumental. Despite my dislike of the lyrics and the overuse of auto-tune by Toxis, I still spin this track from time to time. But I do want to mention here, even though this is not connected to the single, Toxis released an EP this year called Unique. It actually came out in April. And despite what Save Dat might make you think, just avoid any other music by Toxis. It's horrible beats. He's got no flow. There's no bars. It's full auto-tune. There's no redeeming factors. When you listen to his music, it sounds like someone who hates rap and is trying to do a satire of the genre. At least with his new EP, it's all of 10 minutes long, so it's kind of easy to get through. However, we're not talking about the EP. Save Dat, the single, definitely enjoyable. Again, not the most profound lyrics, but as an actual musical song, everything put together and in its combination, it is definitely something that you can bop along to.
Save that, save that, save that, save that, save that, save that, save that, yeah. Сохрани это для нас, а не для них, это обман. Save that, save that, save that, girl. Сохрани это для нас, я забираю тебя через час. Нужна мне потом и нужна мне сейчас. Этот полз не поедет, ему нужен газ.
Okay, now we turn to pop music with Снег растаял на плечах by Dead Blonde. Now this is a single that hits the 90s era nostalgia hard, the era that we're all supposed to fear so seriously here in Russia. But I digress. And the music video really drives this home. Everything in the video tries to recreate the gaudy Novorish visuals, and the lyrics there in the song reference criminal groups and the then fledgling cult of consumerism. The song is definitely a bit of a guilty pleasure, but that's okay. A lot of good songs kind of are. Dead Blonde did release the full album that this song is on, so technically it's not really a single anymore. However, I'm still counting it as such, mainly because I haven't listened to the album as a whole. And from what I've seen, there's been a lot of mixed reactions about it. So at the very least, we can just focus on Снег растаял на плечах and just enjoy it for what it is. Because by itself, it is still just an absolute beast of a pop song. How about something a little bit more electronic? For that, we have Na Sirenovой Luне by Cream Soda. Now, this is a cover of Leonid Agutin's song, who is another famous Russian musician, but it completely changes the vibe and atmosphere of the original song. This version of Na Sirenovой Luне gives it this kind of late spring, early summer vibe. It feels like this warm ray of sun on your face. There's these tropical synths, but then in the background, there's definitely a colder edge to the music as a whole. The song was released for International Women's Day, so March 8th, and it is the group's first single of the year. It's their first release of the year, and it's also their third release since one of the founding members of Cream Soda, Dmitry Nova, passed away last year.
Забудешь обо мне на сиреневой луне, может только на мгновение, оставляя для меня
Okay, and the last major song that I'm going to focus heavily on here is Piyala by Aigel. If I don't actually know if I'm pronouncing that right, it might be Aigel. But anyway, this flew to the top of the charts at the very end of 2023, thanks to it being basically the theme song. It's the main song that was used in the television show Slovo Patsana, which became a television phenomenon here in Russia. I haven't seen a show explode in popularity to that degree for a very, very long time in Russia. I honestly cannot think of the last time a show dominated the cultural consciousness in that way. And that's largely because it stirred up a fair amount of controversy. Now, I plan on talking about the show, even though it released already like 5 months ago. I plan on talking about that sometime in the near future, so you'll get the backstory on that. For now, though, let's focus on the song Piyala. Piyala. Again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly because the group is from Tatarstan, the main city Kazan. If anybody is looking at a map or interested in geography as to where Tatarstan is located in Russia, it is kind of east of Moscow, not due east, but it's on the Volga River. Anyway, the group, they sing in Tatar, the Tatar language. So that is why, even though I have the title of the song and the title of the artist in Russian in front of me, Piyala or Piyala, I don't know exactly how that works because it's Tatar, it's not Russian. So I'm not exactly sure where the stresses fall in it. So if somebody could explain to me in the comments maybe how exactly that's pronounced, I would be very greatly appreciated. I have listened to Aigel for a number of years now, even though they're a bit of an underground band here in Russia. And it's actually worth noting that the song that I'm talking about now actually came out in 2020, but at the time that it came out, it didn't really make any waves. Like I said, the group has been largely underground, and that I think is probably due, in fact, to them singing in Tatar. The music's really good. It's got like this sort of heavy, dark, synthy, dancey sort of vibe, but the lyrics are, I mean, unless you speak Tatar, the lyrics are just nonsense. But then again, if you're watching this channel, there's a very good possibility that you don't speak Russian, so the lyrics to a lot of these songs might just sound like nonsense to you as well. So anyway, yeah, definitely enjoy this song. I do want to point out that the lead singer of the group, Aigel Gaisina, the namesake of the band as well, she is currently out of the country. She's kind of currently living abroad with, I believe, the other member of the band, mainly because they are against Russia's special military operation, just like a very, very large number of Russian musicians at this point in time. I already mentioned Absent, even though he's Belarusian, he is also living in exile. And I'm going to use that as a transition to the next little thing. But for now, enjoy a little clip of Piyala. So speaking of artists who are kind of big names who are currently, we'll just say, living in exile because of their political views, which is, let's be real, a lot of the bigger names in Russian music who are not like state sponsored, right? A lot of the bigger independent music names here in Russia are currently no longer producing music in Russia. Now, that doesn't mean they're not producing music in Russian. They're still singing in Russian. They're still releasing songs and albums even, but they are doing it from Europe. They're doing it from Dubai, from a number of places around the world where they are currently at until the political climate changes here in Russia. However, let's, I guess, keep it to the music. So in that regard, Ice Peak, Manetочка, Morgenstern, Alla Pugacheva, Zemfira. These are all big names, big Russian music names. And I'm pretty sure all of them, maybe not Ice Peak, all of the other ones for sure, and except for Alla Pugacheva as well. But the majority of the names on that list that I just rattled off are technically foreign agents here in Russia due to their political stance. But yeah, they all released singles over the last few months, and the singles are all good, right? None of them are bad. They all kind of do the same sound that made those artists famous in the first place. So if you've never heard those artists before, any of those songs would be a good place to check it out. As far as where you can listen to those songs, we'll get to that at the end of the video. I probably should note, though, that Morgenstern, who is technically a rapper, I'm actually kind of a fan of the last song he released. It's called Последняя любовь. And he's kind of going the Machine Gun Kelly route and going into this pop punk phase, maybe. At least that's what the song is doing. And honestly, it works. It's kind of catchy. So good for him on that. All right, I have to shout out Lesnik one more time. If you watched the video about best albums of the first quarter here in Russia, I mentioned them. This is the post-rock / post-metal band out of Yekaterinburg, and they have released 4 singles this year. One of the singles technically is part of a split with the other post-rock band, Around the World in 80 Days. Also a good song, so I'll link that as well. And I actually saw both of those bands on tour. They're touring currently for the split. That was a really good show. I had a really good time there. But of the 4 songs that they have released as singles, I would have to say Tak I Живем is probably the best, mainly because I love the band Russian Circles, and the song by Lesnik, Tak I Живем, is probably the closest they have come to recreating that sound. But again, it has its own Lesnik flavor, so really good stuff. If you're into something a little bit more brooding and heavier, this is a good place to start. Now, the next song is Belief. It's a remix of the song Belief by Otiken, and the remix features Exhibit. This song came out of left field. Like, let's be real, Exhibit, the American rapper that is most famous in the States for being the host of MTV's Pimp My Ride, he teamed up with Otiken, which is a group of indigenous musicians from Siberia that they sing in the Chulim language, which is critically endangered with less than 100 native speakers remaining out there in the world. This song, though, is kind of a trip. The language, their styles of singing, the instrumentation, the fact that Exhibit is included in it, this all just comes together and it creates a wholly unique and unexpected experience.
İnanı istesin bolar ol senin istende bayza köresin nirbe aspazı çüreksin bazı Poğrançit bolar künçarı çıkçayan bolar senin çampray noyma kireksi gazın parisinin estenderin
Poğrançit bolar künçarı çıkçayan bolar senin çampray noyma kireksi gazın parisinin estenderin Parantirin estenderin Parantirin
Redefining a culture, stepping out of line, big phenomenon. Hack the head up a vulture, sipping alkaline, watch the bottom line. Realign my focus. I am kicking the door with no notice. I got planet Earth on my shoulders, but I'm still making my quota.
Didn't think I was going to mention any other songs, but I just remembered I have to mention Я буду жить для тебя by Plokho. I'm not going to go into details here. This is just this sort of poppy, post-punk masterpiece. The vocalist Viktor Uzhakov, when he starts singing, especially in the chorus, really reminds me a lot of the National's lead singer, Matt Berninger. So if you like the National, if you like post-punk or anything that's kind of dancey and brooding is a common thing here in Russian music, then you'll probably enjoy this song as well.
Вытекают, как вода из-под крана. Темные тучи похитили свет. Я буду жить для тебя. Вечно или нет, но точно не зря. Я буду жить для тебя.
Honestly, there are so many more songs that I could sit here and talk about. «Когда мы умираем» by Ищейка, «Плохо хорошо» by Искрит, «Детство» by Пижама, «Молодой русский» by Husky, «Дуреха» by Brahma, «Пожары» by Holiday Boy, «Подоконник» by Gryaz, «Telecaster» by Acid Racer. The list just goes on, but I've got to stop myself because there have just been so many solid singles for the last few months that it's impossible to cover them all in a single video. In fact, I probably couldn't even cover it in multiple videos. This is more of an Anthony Fantano type of thing, and I'm just not up for that right now. So what I'm going to do is, in the description to this video, there will be a link to a Spotify playlist where I will add all of the songs that I have mentioned in this video. Those will be at the top of the list. And then, additionally, there will be more. In fact, I would imagine that there will probably be upwards of 100 songs from the last 4 months that I feel show kind of a nice whole picture of what is happening in Russian music currently. It is going to span all the genres. There's going to be pop, hip-hop, electronic, metal, just some other oddball stuff, even like a song that's more classically composed. You'll see those from time to time. And I think that by including such a wide range of music for you all to sort through, that you should almost certainly be able to find something that tickles your fancy and will kind of open your ears to a new experience, something from Russia that otherwise you might not find or have the chance to experience. I do plan on doing more videos focusing on singles in the future. However, just because the rate at which songs are released is pretty fast. If you check back in on the playlist, I will just be adding singles to it from time to time, maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. So check back in. The playlist on Spotify will renew, and there will be new songs added to it as I discover new gems that are, again, worth a listen. I hope you heard something here in this video that sounds interesting to you. I hope that you'll give the playlist a listen and hopefully discover something else there that I was not able to cover in this video. If you did hear something here that you liked, then give the video a like. If you discover something in the playlist that you would not have discovered elsewise, maybe think about sharing this video with other people who would like to experience something new in their musical lives and things also connected to Russia. If there is a musical group or song that you think I probably should mention or check out from here in Russia, also leave a comment, tell me about it. Or if there's a song on the playlist that you think maybe I should have given a little bit more attention to, let me know that as well. I always enjoy doing these kind of videos. I do like to share some of the other things that are going on here in Russia, some of the, I guess music's not really a daily thing per se, but it is something that people listen to. And it's worth mentioning that after the war started, the rights to new Western music were basically cut off. So even though Yandex Music, VKontakte, even though a lot of Russian music streaming services still have access to music from 2021 and earlier, music from the last 2 years here, Western music from the last 2 years here, is pretty much only available through piracy, which, in Russia, that's not really an issue. But most people still just use streaming platforms just like they do in the West because of convenience. So what you're hearing, or what I'm going to be sharing with you in this video and in future videos, is also maybe going to give you an idea of what the music landscape is shaping up to be here in Russia in the absence of easily available foreign music. I hope you enjoyed the video. You'll be seeing and hearing from me quite soon. This has been Russia in Context. Thanks for watching.